I only knew what was in my mind, and I wished to express it clearly.
Leave the matter of religion to the family altar. The church and the private school supported entirely by private contributions. Keep the church and state forever separate. In every battle there comes a time when both sides consider themselves beaten and he who continues the attack wins. The friend in my adversity I shall always cherish most. I can better trust those who have helped to relieve the gloom of my dark hours than those who are so ready to enjoy with me the sunshine of my prosperity. I know only two tunes. One of them is Yankee Doodle, the other isn't. The most confident critics are generally those who know the least about the matter criticized. As time passes, people, even of the South, will begin to wonder how it was possible that their ancestors ever fought for or justified institutions that acknowledged the right of property in man. Cheap cigars come in handy, they stifle the odor of cheap politicians. Let us labor for the security of free thought, free speech, pure morals, unfettered religious sentiments, and equal rights and privileges for all men, irrespective of nationality, color, or religion. Leave the matter of religious teaching to the family altar, the church, and the private school, supported entirely by private contribution. Keep church and state forever separate. Although a soldier by profession, I have never felt any sort of fondness for war, and I have never advocated it, except as a means of peace. The most confident critics are generally those who know the least about the matter criticized. If we are to have another contest in the near future of our national existence, I predict that the dividing line will not be Mason and Dixon's but between patriotism and intelligence on the one side, and superstition, ambition and ignorance on the other. The darkest day of my life was the day I heard of Lincoln's assassination. I did not know what it meant. Here was the rebellion put down in the field, and staring up in the gutters. I believe that if our country ever comes into trial again, young men will spring up equal to the occasion, and if one fails, there will be another to take his place. The distant rear of an army engaged in battle is not the best place from which to judge correctly what is going on in front. There are but two parties now, traitors and patriots. And I want hereafter to be ranked with the latter and, I trust, the stronger. There are but few important events in the affairs of men brought about by their own choice. I believe it has never been my misfortune to be placed where I lost my presence of mind unless indeed it has been where thrown in strange company, particularly of ladies. Two commanders on the same field are always one too many. The darkest day of my life was the day I heard of Lincoln's assassination. I did not know what it meant. Here was the rebellion put down in the field, and starting up in the gutters. I have never advocated war except as a mean of peace. I felt like anything rather than rejoicing at the downfall of a foe who had fought so long and valiantly, and had suffered so much for a cause, though that cause was, I believe, one of the worst for which a people ever fought, and one for which there was the least excuse. I propose to fight it out on this line if it takes all summer. The friend in my adversity I shall always cherish most. I can better trust those who help to relieve the gloom of my dark hours than those who are so ready to enjoy with me the sunshine of my prosperity. The art of war is simple enough. Find out where your enemy is. Get at him as soon as you can. Strike him as hard as you can, and keep moving on. There never was a time when, in my opinion, some way could not be found to prevent the drawing of the sword. No other terms than unconditional and immediate surrender. I propose to move immediately upon your works. If we are to have another contest in the near future of our national existence, I predict that the dividing line will not be Mason and Dixon's but between patriotism and intelligence on the one side, and superstition, ambition and ignorance. The great bulk of the legal voters of the South were men who owned no slaves, their homes were generally in the hills and poor country, their facilities for educating their children, even up to the point of reading and writing, were very limited, their interest in the contest was very meager. What there was, if they had been capable of seeing it, was with the North. They too needed emancipation. Under the old regime they were looked down upon by those who controlled all the affairs in the interest of slave owners, as poor white trash who were allowed the ballot so long as they cast it according to direction. There are but few important events in the affairs of men brought about by their own choice. To maintain peace in the future it is necessary to be prepared for war. Encourage free schools and resolve that not $1 of money appropriated to their support, no matter how raised, shall be appropriated to the support of any sectarian school. Leave the matter of religion to the family circle, the church and the private school support entirely by private contribution. Keep the church and state forever separate. I gave up all idea of saving the Union except by complete conquest. Up to that time it had been the policy of our army, certainly of that portion commanded by me, to protect the property of the citizens whose territory was invaded, without regard to their sentiments, whether Union or secession. The free school is the promoter of that intelligence which is to preserve us as a free nation. If we are to have another contest in the near future of our national existence, I predict that the dividing line will not be Mason and Dixon's, but between patriotism and intelligence on the one side, and superstition, ambition, and ignorance on the other. Everyone has his superstitions. One of mine is that in positions of great responsibility everyone should do his duty to the best of his ability where assigned by competent authority, without application or the use of influence to change his position. The problem for us was to move forward to a decisive victory, or our cause was lost. In any case, the example set by the Confederates in burning the village of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, a town which was not garrisoned, would seem to make a defense of the act of firing the seat of government of the state most responsible for the conflict then raging, not imperative. Best way to watch our regular videos and get blessings, please subscribe.